Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. My name is Catherine, and I am your host. And today we are talking about the full moon in Leo that is literally around the corner. So, the full moon in Leo is occurring on February 12th, 2025, and it is occurring at 8:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have this full moon occurring at 24 degrees in the energy of Leo. So, as we know, the sun is currently in Aquarius, making a beautiful opposition and illuminating the night sky with this vibrant energy that the Leo brings. I would like to say that this full moon, I feel, has a little bit of a energetic shift and also hopefully can be getting us a little bit more centered in our areas of passion and our areas of feeling bold and radiant and feeling really more confident in being able to express ourselves and our heart center energy. The Leo is ruled by the sun, so naturally, this governs the area of creativity and the area of being the creator, and also the area of passion and personal power. Sometimes we always get a little bit, I guess you could say, a little bit submissive when it comes to personal power. A lot of times we can acknowledge that we are powerful individuals and that we have a power within us, but sometimes we don't really own it. We don't really own it completely. And this full moon is not just allowing us to own it, but it's also making this area that feels a little bit more intriguing, where we are basically able to claim the big spotlight. We're able to create that energy that feels very illuminated and also feels very authentic. And when we are working with signs and the energy of the signs of the zodiacs and also the energy of the moon, we have to remember that that energy is also tied into the emotional well-being that we hold because it is centered around the moon. So, if our emotional state is allowing us to feel a little bit less powerful than what we are, this moon should allow us to step into the strengths and the passions that our personal power can illuminate on its own. We have to remember when it is a polar opposite that's so dynamic of the Aquarius and the Leo, it highlights two energies, two main energy cycles. The Leo is known for its energy of individuality and that area of being more centered on the personal growth, the personal power, while the Aquarius is a little bit more centered around the group, the collective, the energy of what the collective is feeling, and also the energy that shines through the collective matters. It is definitely like this pull and push pull kind of scenario of the polar opposites kind of giving this tension, because we also have to remember that with the Aquarius and the Leo opposing each other, where the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is in Leo, our energies will be shifted more on the center of not just the personal practices, but also the practices of the collective. And we do want to be focused on community and we do want to be focused on that energy around the collective, but we also want to be centered in the areas of balancing our own personal recognition. A lot of times, when we are in the energy of a collective, we tend to maybe go with how the collective feels and go with the areas of expression that maybe the collective is holding. But in this full moon energy, we're going to want to be wanting to express what it is that the energy with our own authentic nature is speaking, is feeling, is tuned into, and is sensing that energy of power. And we do recognize the group dynamic, but let's be honest, we want to be centered on it in a more personal space. There is some energy that might be making this full moon feel a little bit rebellious and a little bit more centered around having kind of, I guess you could say, like a theme of more of a heightened energy. And this is because this full moon is squaring Uranus in Taurus. And this square is making this energy feel very kind of, I guess you could say, a little bit self destructive and a little bit rebellious. But I honestly think that it has more of a collective nature versus a individual nature. And the reason why is because the sun is in Aquarius and because of all the things that have been occurring. And there's a lot of energy of like revolution and rebellion, and also taking this energy that feels very strong and feels very centered around almost like healing a certain nature about us, but it also feels very dominant. And I do think that something might get highlighted during this time of the full moon in Leo, maybe around the collective structure and also around the energies of leadership. And it's going to be kind of an interesting moon to look at and an interesting time and perspective to see how it is that the collective is resonating with you. Because we have to remember that we are one big collective, we are one big group. And while our groups may disagree sometimes, and our groups might have different places for different energy, we have to see how that collective energy resonates with us. It's not our job and responsibility to resonate with everybody. And if we feel unaligned with our collective's message, it might be a time that many of us put on that energy of our own leadership and step out of that collective perspective and start to look at energies that are more tied into what it is that we feel authentic with. So, this is definitely going to be an interesting moon, an interesting full moon. And the energy that this full moon really does bring is that balance of confidence and courage, that Leo energy of being bold and being unapologetic, unapologetic towards our own beliefs and our own centers. So, definitely, if there's something that feels right with you and feels aligned with you, that is something that you should hold on to, and you should always stand 10 toes down. Like the Leo energy doesn't say something and then go ahead and like backtracks, and it's like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. Or I didn't mean to say it like that. Or I lied about this. Or that's not really how I felt. The Leo energy is no, that's how I felt. No, that's what I believe. And that is what I'm going to stand centered with. We have to remember that when we are true with our energetic alignment and we respect our boundaries and we respect our heart center, that's where our energies of passion and reconnecting with happiness occurs. Even if the collective is on a different wavelength than us, or even if the collective is on a different frequency, whatever feels right and authentically aligned with us in our heart center is where our energy of joy and also our energy of passion and power starts to show. So, with the Leo, we do have to really pay some contribution to the heart center. The Leo is known for having that energetic alignment tied into the heart chakra. And this is where it is seen as almost like a ruler energy of our authentic nature. This is also a good moon to really get creative and playful. So, this is a time to step into our artistic projects, our areas of performance, our areas of creative breakthroughs, and our energies of hobbies. And I think a lot of times I've noticed a lot of people get tied into hobbies and the energy of making money. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because our squaring focus right now is with Taurus. And that squaring focus of Uranus and Taurus is centered around the energy of personal wealth and also personal, I guess you could say, material items, feeling a little bit rebellious and feeling a little bit more decentered from the collective. And I want to put a focus on a hobby versus a side hustle. Okay, so there's certain things that should always remain a hobby, right? Or a lifestyle. So, for instance, working out, going to the gym, eating healthy, doing these things aren't necessarily a hobby. They're more of a lifestyle. But a side business or a side hustle sometimes starts off as a hobby, but then turns into a side hustle. And a lot of times you'll hear people will say, um, do what it is that you love, right? Do what it is that you love, and you never feel like you have to work a day of your life. And I just want to say that that is a myth. Even if it is something that brings you joy, you still have to work, right? If that's making a project, if that's making content, if that's making baked goods, if that's making, I guess you could say, making your website for your side hustle that is now growing, it's still work. And we see that with a lot of content creators. We see a lot of content creators get burnt out and all of a sudden they disconnect or they decide that this is no longer fun for them. This is no longer a hobby. This side hustle has turned into full blown work, right? And we see that. So when I say have a heart center and be aligned with your hobbies and your energy around creativity, this isn't to be focused around anything that would bring you some type of revenue. And a lot of times, people always think that the hobbies should be aligned with a side hustle. So, this would not be a good time to work on your side hustle. This would not be a good time to work on the hobbies that have turned into a side hustle because of that Uranus and Taurus square. This would actually be a good time for you to work on your own personal hobbies that have nothing to do with money revenue. And I just wanted to say that because I feel like a lot of people sometimes have a very, very hard time with that balance. For instance, if you enjoy baking a cake, and let's say you're good at baking a cake, and you want to get creative, bake a cake that isn't necessarily tied into your hobby, that is a side hustle. That is your own pure hobby for your own enjoyment, for your own recognition, for your own creative breakthrough. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with revenue. It has nothing to do with any of those outer things except for bringing you pure creativity and pure joy through the actual act of creation. So, a hobby is what you need to be focused on, not the energy of a side hustle. And the reason why is because of that Uranus having a full square with the moon at this time. So, also, we want to look at our energies of recognition and our energies of being a leader. And again, this shouldn't be tied into work so much or the energies of a side hustle, but more of your own personal, authentic energy of recognition. The energy of recognition of like, hey, when my kids come and ask me something, I show leadership. I guide them in the right direction. I recognize what it is that they may be centered in. And it would be a time that you would want to reflect on your areas of recognition and your energies of leadership. But I want this to be more tied into your authentic space versus your career space. Also, when we have this energy of Leo ruling the heart and us being very tied into our heart center, we have to remember that there's a lot of emotions that come in with breakups, with areas of drama, with areas of revelations, and areas of romance. And this energy will feel heightened during this time. Like I said, we have a full on square, but we also have that energy where it could be heightened in themes that feel more expressive to our own individual state, but also energies that feel more expressive in the collective state of the relationship. So, for instance, if the relationship is having some problems, I do feel that this energy will be a little bit more heightened and also feel a little bit more dramatic. So, it is definitely a time that you're going to want to reflect, and also you are going to want to express what it is that you are feeling in your heart center. The energies of working with the heart center and working with this Leo full moon, there's tons of rituals we could do. There's tons of energy practices. Of course, a journal prompt would be focused on the chakras of definitely the sacral for passion, the solar plex for your power and your strength and your creativity, and also your heart center, the heart center of who it is that you are aligned with your boundaries and also your energies of trust. So those would be three of the chakras I would be focused on. Also, we would, do some journal prompts that are centered around there. For instance, where am I afraid to take up space? We have to remember that taking up space and being big and bold isn't a bad thing. And this is occurring in energies of more of the yin, which is the masculine energy. And that energy is known for creation. That energy is known for doing things. But a lot of times, these zodiacs, who are the masculine zodiacs, which are the air signs and also the fire signs, tend to shift away from taking up space and actually creating. So traditionally, it is the yang sign, the feminine signs that take up space effortlessly. Where this time, since we are focused on being more centered around taking up space and being big and bold naturally, we want to look at that focus of how can we naturally set into our power where it doesn't feel overly masculine and it doesn't feel overly assertive, because we do have a lot of energy that feels very dominant at this time. Another thing that you should be focused on is looking at energies of intentions and also energies of releasing. Personally, full moons for me can be centered around self care, especially because there is a lot of heightened energy, but also full moons are that energy of not just new intentions, but also the energies of creating illumination. So you would want to like light a candle. And of course, you should have your candles tied into certain chakras. For instance, you could use a gold candle or a yellow candle for the solar plex, an orange candle for the sacral, a red candle for the root chakra or the energy of passion. And you're going to want to write down your fears and your insecurities you want to release. So, anytime you're doing a releasing spell, what you want to do is you want to fold it 3 times away from you. And then you're going to want to list the things that feel right with you. So, for instance, however you decide to release this energy, go ahead and release it. If it's burning it, if it's allowing the candle to burn under over it, whatever that is. But it is to be focused around insecurities. And you write it, you burn it, you release it, you get away from it. Then you are going to want to enlist at least 3 things that you are confident with. This time, if you are writing them down, you're going to want to fold it towards you 3 times. And then you are going to embrace that energy of confidence. You're going to embrace that area of creativity, and you are going to not release it. You are going to keep it with you. And you could keep it with you in maybe your wallet. You could keep it with you in energies of maybe your journal or energies um, in a coat pocket, but you're going to want to keep it with you. Maybe put it in a nightstand. You could put some beautiful flowers over it. You can draw on it, but you definitely want to keep it with you. You don't necessarily want to release it. And then, after the next full moon, or when we are centered around shadow work energy, you're going to want to reopen it. And when you reopen it, you are going to evaluate, have you seen a difference in this energy of confidence and this energy of creativity that you have put as your 3 intentions? Also, I want you to acknowledge that you are bold and that you are worthy of being seen and you are worthy of taking up space. You are worthy for being big, bold, and glamorous and beautiful. And these are areas that are centered around you and your energy of your personal authentic nature and that personal area of creativity. So you're definitely going to want to express yourself during this time. That could be in energies of fashion, that could be energies of getting a little bit more confident. And one of the things that I love about getting a little bit more confident is really it only takes just a few steps a day, right? If it means just throwing on some moisturizer and some mascara, maybe even putting on some lip oil, it just allows you to feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more centered, and allowing your soul energy to really shine through. So, develop a routine or develop something that gives you enough time to do these things, to do what it is that allows you to feel a little bit more centered around your powerful reminder of who it is that you are and who it is that you are aligned with. And since the Leo does represent the energy of the sun and the energy of space of being the creator, I definitely think that this would be a good time to have a chakra intention, some type of thing that is centered around all 7 of the chakras and also centered around the emotional and physical alignment that the chakras bring spiritually, emotionally, physically. So we will go through all 7 quite fast. So I will say it will be fast because I do want to do a reading for the zodiacs. So the root chakra is our number 1 chakra. It is the number 1. It starts with red. It starts with the energy of being in the base spine, and it is aligned with the element of earth. We are going to want to practice some type of grounding. It governs our area of survival and our basic instincts, and it allows us trust. And it also sometimes has our energies that feel imbalanced will arise in forms of fear, anxiety, and instability. Allow these energies to be released and to focus on being safe, secure, and grounded. Then we have the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is centered around creativity and emotions, and this energy is around the reproductive organs. It is also centered around orange, and it is known to have that energy right below the lower abdomen, like I said, the reproductive organs, and below the navel. It is the element of water, and it governs the passion and it governs the area of sexuality, creativity, and also relationships. This is a chakra we will pay more attention to, but we do want to be focused on all of the 7. We also want to be centered around the areas of releasing and also letting go of emotional repression, lack of pleasure, and the energy of what are known as creative blocks or also known as limiting self beliefs. This would be a time that we kind of release that energy. So, if you are looking for things to release and taking in, you would be focused on passion. So, the sacral chakra is one that is definitely highlighted for this full moon in Leo at 24 degrees. We also have to remember that the solar plexus chakra is the third chakra. This chakra is aligned with our energies of personal power, confidence, and the color yellow. It is centered on the upper abdomen and the stomach area. It is the element of fire, just like the Leo. The Leo is a fire sign. This sign governs and also allows us to feel more tied into the energy of the element, which is structured around power, strength, and even a little bit of destruction. It is centered around self esteem, motivation, and identity. So, things that might occur with some imbalances of the solar plex would be low self worth, insecurity, and also destruction. So, if we are being very destructive in our own self worth, or also issues where we see a heightened energy of control, we are going to want to dim that solar plex chakra. We're also going to want to reflect and not really create more intentions around power or strength because we're already seeing energies of destruction kind of play out in our everyday space. The next energy that we will be looking at is an energy that's definitely tied into the Leo full moon, and that is the heart chakra, where we are centered around love, compassion, and the energy of green. This sometimes people will say it's pink, especially around Valentine's Day. You can use pink if you choose to, but I traditionally love the green because the green traditionally is the representation of the heart chakra. And also, the green reminds me of where it is believed that the heart chakra has an energy, and that is Maui. And Maui is so green and beautiful. This center is around the chest, and this center is also the element of air and the energy that governs love, connection, empathy, and forgiveness. And we really see this as the moon is opposing the energy of Aquarius, which is a air sign. So as we see, this kind of all ties in together. And the heart chakra is also known to have that representation of the actual heart where the Leo is the ruler of. So we will continue to look at that energy of forgiveness, boundaries, and also connections. We're going to want to take in that energy of trust and take in that energy of self love and also love for partners and the collective. If we are suffering from imbalances, it could come up in energies of heartache, grief, resentment, isolation, and betrayal. And I will be releasing a podcast on heartbreak because I have received so much feedback about people going through some obstacles with heartbreak. So that is something that stay, in tuned for. It should be coming out soon. Also, we have to look at the energy of communication for the throat chakra as we are centered in our energy of authentic power. The throat chakra is known for that energy of communication and that space of truth. It is seen as the color traditionally in blue, and it is right around the throat center. It is known for the element of space and also ether, and also I have heard the element of sound. So it governs the energy of expression, speaking, clarity, and truth. It is centered around the imbalances that may occur that we will see in the forms of the fear of communication and also the fear of speaking. Difficult. I'm having some throat chakra imbalances right now. Difficulty of expressing our emotions and the energy around what it is that we truly feel aligned with. So we would be focused on taking in intentions around expression, speaking, communication. But in all honesty, we just want to have a clear balance of these. We don't necessarily want to be working on them fully. We're more focused on the three that I mentioned, which are the sacral, the solar plex, and also the heart. But we do always want to do a full alignment of all when we are working with an energy that is tied into the creator, which is the sun. The third eye chakra is the energy of intuition and insight. This is right around the area between the eyebrows, and it is a color of like a dark, almost purplish blue. It is, I guess they call it indigo. I see it more as like a purplish blue. It is the element of life, and it governs the area of intuition, inner wisdom, clarity, and spiritual awareness. The imbalance could come up from of direction and not trusting your intuition, and also the energies of confusion and disconnect. And we might also see this energy not being aligned with a disconnect of our own personal, authentic nature. We have to remember that when the collective might be, I guess you could say, a little bit shifted from our own perspective or our own areas of connection, we might feel a disconnect from the collective at this time, which, in all honesty, is not a bad thing. A lot of times, we want to make sure that this disconnect isn't taking place in personal relationships, though. And then we have the energy of the crown chakra. The crown chakra is centered around the energy of violet or white, and it is right around the top of the head, literally the crown of the head, and it's a divine energy. It governs the area of spirituality, enlightenment, and also universal connections. We feel the balance, we feel the energy of trusting our decisions, trusting our universal connection, and also trusting our energy of connection to our spiritual process. Times that we might feel an imbalance or we would be looking towards releasing or creating more of an alignment would be when we are feeling disconnected from our purpose, especially during this full moon in Leo. If we are feeling disconnected from our purpose, we might be holding some spiritual blocks and some energies where we don't feel aligned to our own spiritual practices. And all these chakras can be balanced through journaling, meditation, grounding, clearings, and also intentions. But let's focus on the three. So, the three energies of rituals that you could do for the solar plex would be diving into colors like gold and yellow. This could be crystals. This can also be awakening your energy of intentions and really being focused on writing some powerful affirmations. You're going to want to look at stones like citrine and also tiger's eye, but also having that energy of standing confident and courageous in your identity and who it is that you are, and not allowing self doubt to I guess you could say, continue to come back up, but really taking in that fire element. And then the sacral chakra, which is actually below the solar plex chakra, and that's more around passion. So that would be your energy of creativity, your energy of projects, and also your energy of creating rituals that are focused on that. And then the heart chakra, like I said, you could do green, you can even do pink, especially as we are tied around Valentine's Day. I would look at energies around rose quartz and also green aventurine stones, or maybe like a green rock, or even some green grass. This honestly, I feel like would be a good time to create a love jar, something that feels very rooted in love and rooted in a area of connection. And especially if you are in a relationship that is very centered around your energy, I would definitely write some intentions around love and also some intentions around gratitude. You would also want to work on breathing exercises. And one of the affirmations you could say is, I give and I receive love freely and fearlessly. Definitely that fearless nature that the Leo brings. And like with all the chakras and all the energy, definitely do some meditations and some light stretches or even some yoga. You could definitely get out there and release some energy. We have to remember that 24 degrees Leo moon definitely ties into the area of wisdom, experience, and deep self acceptance. So, we definitely want to have that personal mastery, that personal identity, and that emotional depth of where it is that we are tied into our space, our authentic nature, our leadership nature. And the energies of being creative and bold, that could be expressed through fashion, that could even be expressed through mirror magic, that could be expressed through projects, creativity, and having that breakthrough moment. I do feel like the 24 degrees does really hold a nature that feels very tied into validation. So allowing that validation and that energy to show that you are strong, you are confident, and you are centered. There's always shadow side and there's always reflection side, but traditionally that shouldn't be what we are working on with a full moon energy, like a full moon energy in Leo. But the shadow side and the area that you would see would be the area of not wanting to change, not wanting to adapt, not wanting to self-evaluate, the fear of vulnerability. And vulnerability speaks volume. Everybody's vulnerable, right? We all have that area of emotional depth where we feel uncomfortable. It's part of human nature. The struggles of the ego versus the authentic space, or the higher self, as some might say, learning to balance the personal pride. So, like I said, if the ego and the energy of the solar plex is excessive, this would be a time that you would be focused more on releasing instead of intentions. But the full moon in 24 degrees affects everybody differently, right? And definitely it will be speaking volumes to the fixed signs, and especially people who have the degrees such as 20 to 28, but really the energy of breakthroughs and self-confidence and owning your self-worth is really what this full moon is focused on. Realigning the energy to your own personal identity and your own courageous, brave, and heart-centered focus. So remember, whatever it is that you are creating, whatever it is that you are centered, that you might be feeling like you're holding back, allow this energy of self acceptance and release of what's been holding you back to step into your own emotional, physical, and spiritual power. That is the energy of the solar plex. That is the energy of the sun. That is the energy of the Leo. So allowing yourself to shine vibrant in your light, not allowing others to dim your light, not allowing others to dim your passions, not allowing others to dim your true self. So stepping firm and authentic in that nature. Let's get into the reading for the zodiacs. So I will be using two decks today, two oracle decks. And the reason why is because I don't want any limiting self-beliefs. I don't want any self-doubts. I don't want any alignment that feels not centered around our intentions to come up. And sometimes tarot can bring up shadow states, and sometimes it could bring up the energy of disbelief and the energy of too much reflection. And this reading is going to be positive, and it's going to be centered around where we should create intentions. The decks that I will be using are oracle. The first deck is the white light oracle deck, and also the second deck is another oracle deck, and it is the Star Seed Oracle deck. These decks I highly recommend. They are absolutely beautiful and they have beautiful illustrations. So the first reading is for the fire signs. If you are a fire sign, that means you are a Leo, Sagittarius, or you are an Aries. It is time to be focused on the energy of center and the energy of your own personal and spiritual well-being. So stay focused towards giving a lot of confidence, a lot of self-love towards your inner state. Basically highlight the heart chakra area, the energy around confidence, the energy around glamour, around feeding that energy back into you, having your arms, drawing that energy from the universe, from the love space, from the love center, and putting it back into you. It's like when they say, how can you fill up everybody's cup and your cup is so empty, right? How can you drink water, hydrate everybody else, um, give the water to everybody? It's like the water barrier of the Aquarius, but not having time to fill up your own cup. We also want to be looking at the bigger picture and looking at the energies that are around our big ideas, our big space, and our big steps. Creating an energy and also creating that visionary practice that feels very aligned with the energy of the Leo and also feels very energetically aligned with the energy of the whole 7 chakras. And the reason why is because this card is speaking in the area of the star sisters, the 7 star sisters. So for the fire signs, I definitely want you to look at 7 intentions, 7 areas of rituals, 7 areas of movement, and also 7 alignments that feel centered around you. So you could do just the chakras and that would incorporate all 7, or you can look at 7 intentions that are different from the chakras. Also, if you guys hear Tank snoring, he is in here. He would not go back in his house after he woke up. So for the water signs, if you are a water sign, you are a Scorpio, you are a Pisces, and you are a Cancer. This is a time for you to be focused on big, big ideas. Big ideas around trust of your third eye chakra and also of your crown chakra, but also to see the energy of connection that you are centered with the spiritual realm and also with the energy around you on a spiritual practice, the energy around the universe and that universe calling you to understanding that you are tied into this cycle, you are tied into this cosmic energy, you are illuminated with the inner space of the cosmos, of the messages that the cosmos bring. So look at what it is that the universe is saying to you, what it is that the cosmic connection is allowing you to feel, allowing you to be at peace with, and allowing you to be centered with. I would even do some intentions around understanding your strengths around intuition. That could be some intuitive practices, but also while we are working with this big space energy, this big cosmic energy, if it is that we are receiving like psychic downloads or receiving lots of universal messages, we have to remember to stay connected to earth, to stay connected to the root chakra, and also stay connected to the heart chakra. Definitely stay connected with the area of boundaries and structures around the center of the energy of the heart and the root chakra. So look at the energy of allowing yourself to acknowledge the obstacles, to acknowledge the area that has come up, the challenges that may have been centered in your recent pathway, and to understand that there's always new energies of survival. There's always new energies of challenges and new energies of moving past the challenges, and also energies of beginnings. And that you will survive this. You will move from this. You will grow from this. And you will be centered around a new vibration, a new frequency, a new movement, having your trust in the universe while remaining very current here on earth is something that is always a true balance. And that balance really honestly reminds me of the two dynamic polarities of the fire and the water, which is quite interesting that that card kind of came up right after I just talked about the fire signs, and then I moved on to the water signs. And I hope Tank is not snoring all the way through this. Okay. So the spirit owl is one of the cards that came up. the spirit owl for the earth signs, in all honesty. So this reading is for the earth signs. If you are an earth sign, you are a Taurus, you are a Capricorn, and you are a Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. I can't believe I forgot Virgos. I'm just so apologizing. I love Virgos too. And I was like a little blank right there. I think it's because Tank is snoring so loud that I had a like little brain freeze. Okay, so the spirit owl, and I don't know if you guys are still working with your guide animal that we did for the winter full moon, for the full moon that was tied into, I can't remember, I think it was Gemini. I'm having a full brain freeze, but we did do a full moon that was tied into receiving energy from our guide animals, and we were focused on winter animals, and one of the animals that I highlighted was a owl. And if you are working with your guide animal, you can continue to use that animal. But if you don't have a guide animal, I highly recommend looking at the energy of the owl, especially because this card just came up and it is for the earth signs. And the owl is such a beautiful creature, very mystical, very magical, very wise, very talented. It is a nocturnal animal, and it does have a lot of representation of being here on earth and having the energy of being one of the first messengers. So definitely look at the energy around wisdom, setting intentions around more knowledge, setting intentions around having the spirit feeling aligned with nature and also with the earth. Also, as we are working with the energy of the air signs, we're going to want to look at how the birds fly. They fly so effortlessly. It's just like pure beauty and pure magic to see the birds flying, just almost like, wow, what it would feel like to fly above the sky, to see earth in the air, gravity not throwing you down to your down to your feet, just to have that beautiful magical element of allowing the wings, the structure, the body of the bird to take flight. I love birds. I absolutely love birds. I even have a bird tattoo. And it is a representation of a Latin bird, and I totally forgot the name, but I do have a bird tattoo. I love birds. I love feeding the birds. I love seeing the birds. I love watching the birds. I love birds. Birds are beautiful. And the owl is definitely a very beautiful creature. So look at that area of the messenger that the owl brings. Look at that area of guidance that the owl brings. And also for the earth signs, you are definitely going to want to gain some energy around your space of cosmic alignment with your heart chakra and your heart center. So looking at the space of devotion, and also looking at the space of how strong and potent you are in the cosmic alignment that the universe brings. I feel like sometimes it's so easy, so easy for air signs to kind of like get wrapped up into the energy of the cosmos, right? As an air sign, I know like to kind of like have that dreamlike state, and I feel like the water signs feel this energy too. Same with the fire, but I see that sometimes for the earth signs, it could be a little bit more of a challenge to get kind of wrapped up into the cosmic space of the energy that the cosmic heart center brings. So having that as an intention would look like creating more mystical magic through the cosmos. So things that you could do would be definitely create moon water. Use that moon water to wash your face. Use that moon water to feed your plants. I know you have plants as a water sign. I mean, as an earth sign, I know there's plants in your house, so use that water, maybe even wash your hair. You could also drink the moon water. You just want to make sure that you aren't leaving that water out in something that is protective. That's something that isn't protected. And also, you don't want to be leaving that water out for multiple days. So, if the water is sealed, and I traditionally don't like um, bottled water in plastic, um, but you can take that bottled water, or you can take, your filtered water, put it outside and put it like in a metal stainless steel compartment, keep it airtight, and just leave it out for the full moon. Don't leave it out for multiple days. And if you are going to drink it, I would drink it very quick. I wouldn't wait like multiple days, because water can create bacteria, and people have gotten sick and food poisoning from drinking moon water because they put a lot of stuff in it. They were trying to put like herbs in it, and they were trying to put all kinds of things in it. And then what happened with the moon water is it did get contaminated, and it did get bacteria. So if you are doing moon water, you could get like a case of water. I've seen people get a case of water. I personally think, it is easy to get a case of water. The water is sealed. And if you are doing money intentions, I highly recommend putting money through in that case of water. Also, like, obviously not in the water, but through the case of water or directly on top of the case of water, and allowing the moon to absorb that, and then also absorb the wealth of the money. And then also, then you can bring that water back into your house, but don't do it too many nights, people. Please don't. So definitely getting into the cosmic energy, creating moon water, and then also make that energy around a intention or a ritual speaking into the cosmos. So if you've never gone outside during a full moon and spoke to the moon as an earth sign, this is something that you need to do. Definitely a moving prayer or a moving intention would be going outside, stretching, putting your hands up to the sky, saying what it is that you need to say. It could be outspoken. You could actually say it with words, or you could say it emotionally and internal speaking, where you say it as your thoughts to the cosmos. Also, for earth signs, I do love the energy of grounding outside. And we have to remember we still have that 6 planet alignment that is occurring. I plan on talking about that 6 planet alignment because I've seen a lot of things about the energy of what is occurring with the 6 planet alignment, but not here, not now, because it is a lot. So look at that energy of acknowledging the here and now, the reality base of the earth, and also acknowledging the area of the cosmos, of the non reality, of the energy of the unknown, and allowing that space to move forward in your own personal message to the cosmic connection that you have with the universe. And that is for the earth signs. For the air signs, if you are an air sign, that means that you are a Gemini, you are an Aquarius, and you are a Libra. So the card for you is basically to look at your areas of strengths and intentions, and also to be centered around the heart chakra, to understand that you are very powerful and you are very dominant in what it is that you create. To always have that energy speaking to you in not just the 3 chakras that we mentioned earlier, such as the sacral, the solar plex, and the heart chakra, but the full alignment of how the chakras come up completely. The full alignment of the crown chakra, the energy of movement. You are very graceful. You're going to want to work on areas of remaining graceful. And also, I would recommend working in the energy of 3 and also working in the energy of 7. Learning the energy of movement that feels drawn and also feels magical and mystical to you, and continue to have that gain of feeling courageous like the lion, like the Leo, like the leader you are, and continue to hold that space. If you are having a difficult time connecting with that space, this is going to be the full moon that you want to connect with, that you're going to want to move with and share with and learn with. Also, this is a good time to remind yourself that when you are in that connection space of being the leader, of being dominant, of being successful, of being that creative baddie that you know you are, that there's also an energy that always leads to the energy of the collective on the home space. The energy of all paths lead home. And home is really like where the heart is. I kind of like get into this discussion with people because I often wonder, like, would I be able to move far away from my home? And everybody's like, well, if you just move your home, yeah. But a lot of me is tied into this land of California because of family and family connection. Like me personally, I feel like I would have a really, really, really difficult time being far away from the collective that represents home for me, meaning like children, mother, father, that connection of family. I know for me, it would definitely be a challenge. And I think that area of inter authority and inter intuition and inter journey allows us to create that home space wherever it is that we are, right? With the collective, even if the collective isn't necessarily family traditionally, it allows us to create that energy of inner authority of creating a home space. So if you are feeling disconnected from the home space, this is going to be an energy that you're going to want to dive into, especially a dive into as turn that energy into feeling focused with you, your individual space of feeling aligned in your home space and feeling aligned in the energy of home and within your own pathway. So whatever feels right for you is usually what is right for you. And sometimes we have to acknowledge that. And especially if you've been feeling a little disconnected from the home, you definitely want to create intentions towards the home. If that could be watering your plants with the moon water, it could also be setting intentions, working on areas of vision, areas of redesigning. I love, I guess you could say, like redesigning or putting up decorations that represent certain seasons or also certain areas of movement. And this energy of movement would definitely resemble confidence. And power. So looking at maybe like clearing out your closet, clearing out what clothes don't make you feel confident, what clothes don't make you feel powerful, and donating them, and then bringing in new clothes or new items, even old items that you already had. I'm not saying like go out and buy new items, but just new items that maybe you haven't worn in a while, and bringing them out and really showcasing them so you can wear them. I think one of our biggest problems is we don't wear the clothes that we buy. And obviously we bought it for a reason. We bought it because we liked it and it made us feel good, or, it made us feel aligned in our energy of confidence and creativity. So acknowledging that you can dress up, you can dress in areas that allow you to feel confident, even if you aren't like going somewhere. A lot of times I like just dressing up in clothes that I wore and maybe take a few pictures, because I acknowledge that I have these, I like this outfit, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel confident, and I'm going to take some pictures. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then at least wearing them and going out with friends. A lot of times I feel like we always have to kind of dress down or dress to resemble the collective. And not necessarily like, stop fucking calling your friend and being like, what are you wearing? Wear what you want to wear. Wear what makes you feel good. Who cares what the fuck she's wearing? If she's wearing jeans, you can wear a skirt. Like, we don't have to match the collective. And I think that's another energy that this full moon in Leo really shows. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you. And also, please like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, don't forget to share it with your witchy bestie for this full moon in Leo, and give it a little rating. Help your girl out with a 5-star rating on the podcasting platforms. It really helps me move up the podcasting ladder and allows people like us to connect. And everybody have a great full moon in Leo. Bye.